back for round 2 of the Fantastic Four Future Foundation HeroClix reveal. I'm not going to say unboxing, because as I said in the first video, which you should watch, a link will be provided, I decided to skip the whole part where I take them out of boxes, because based on fan feedback, people seem like they really wanted to see the figures and the cards and focus on that. So that's what I'm going to do, and hopefully help you guys out and learn what is in this set. I think I have one figure that HeroClix Realms has not revealed yet, so I'm excited to share that to the chase at the end of this. So please watch me. If not, I won't be too offended if you fast forward to the part where the chase comes in. But yeah, let me just get right to it then, so we can get to that. Unless I have one other surprise, but we'll get to that again at the end. Well, again, watch the first video. I revealed some of these figures. Again, first one is Medusa of the Fantastic Four. Her card is in the last video if you want to see. You probably have already seen it. So I'll skip right on to a promising rare, it looks like. I feel like sometimes I can't tell the difference between the white and the silver. This is a silver, I'm pretty sure, though, and it seems like it with the sculpt and the powers he has on his cards. Nathaniel Richards. It's a close look at that Nathaniel Richards who's like shooting flamethrowers out of his shoulder. He has a really interesting power in that if he is holding an object or near an object, he can destroy it. So, I mean, you bring these things like I showed you, the Ultimate Nullifier or Isotope E in the game, you can just, destroy your opponent's object before they get a chance to use it, or destroy your own. And then you get that benefit of having be able to have that extra attack. So it's interesting that they've included this character who, is an inventor, so it makes sense. He interacts with these objects, which are a new element to the game. So it's kind of cool if you're planning on doing some shenanigans with objects, maybe Nathaniel would be a good fit for your team. But the cost of that, he's got 4 clicks. He's got a 40 and 25 point base. So, he's maybe not as strong as I was imagining anyway. He's kind of almost on par with the sidekicks in terms of how many clicks he's got. So, he's got a pretty specific thing that he does, but he's very good at it and very unique. Interesting, cool little gadgetry he's got going on there. Another fun one. Again, I said the really weird Fantastic Four run they had when they weren't the usual Fantastic Four. One of the many times that happens. Ms. Thing. And I had to chuckle to myself. It makes total sense, but Ms. Thing here has the armor keyword. When I see armor, I'm thinking like Nathaniel Richards that I just showed you, or of course Iron Man. But, this is armor. It makes sense, this Thing costume she's wearing. But she gets that. She gets, some of the benefits of those kinds of powers. She also has that Fantastic Four for 4 minutes thing where she gets to re-roll that Medusa and She-Hulk had. She's pretty solid, and again, like the other one, she's got a solid amount of clicks to her for 75. So they all seem to share a very similar power level, which makes sense. That was a trippy run, wasn't it? And they're all trippy runs. But, getting on, we have some of the villains. Again, there are some. The idea with the Future Foundation is the teams, and you have heroes and sidekicks. And pairing up characters based on what super team they're in. So we've seen the Fantastic Four, we've seen the Future Foundation, we had the Power Pack, and now you have the Mad Thinker, who is part of Doom's crew. So we've got the villains in there too. And he can mess with robots. That is his thing. He has the ally keyword, so he can actually give captains and sidekicks a little bit of extra advantage when it comes to robotics. And of course, he himself is not a strong guy, as we can see. So he comes at a relatively low point cost, and he's got a fair, decent number of clicks to him, but it seems like you'll be using him more to empower others and pull some tricks when it comes to robots being on the field. Anyway, speaking of Doom friends, we have, not quite Doom friends, but another villainous type, the Wizard. Much like Mad Thinker, the Wizard here can empower you when you're fighting scientists. Again, ally, so he powers all your allies or captains and sidekicks. He also has anti-grav discs, which are fun to kind of make opponents float away. So it's a fun little power set he's got there. He comes again at 60-20, 2 different point costs, so there's a little bit of flexibility there. And yeah, so that's our first pick from this set, and of course, like I said, we'll get into some exciting things. Actually, I have one here which I thought was really cool. Real quick, we'll get through some of these. She-Hulk from the Fantastic Four was already seen in the last video. Check her out. We have Jim Hammond coming in. Here's something we don't see much of, in this set anyway, but we have a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent with Jim Hammond. So you have that affiliation and the powers that come with it. He's also got some cool tanky abilities, and he can share a mastermind with sidekicks. So he seems to be about protecting your sidekicks while also, passing on the powers to him. So he's got some interesting things to play with there. And he also comes at 2 different point values. Again, offering a little bit of flexibility in if you're choosing to have him be a fighter or just use him for his buffs. And yeah, he's, different. He's got a lot of very red, vibrant costume. We haven't seen a lot of in this set because there's a lot of whites and blacks with the Fantastic Four Future Foundation theme. Speaking of going back to that, Alex Power. This is the 3rd Alex Power I think we've seen. Look at him, different costume. Oh, actually, I already saw him. I forgot. He was in the last video. So yeah, Power Pack, they're there, still there. Also still there is Leech, who was the first figure I unveiled in the last video. So let's get those out of the way and get to the rare of this set. He came, as you can see, this is how he was in the box, in his own separate little bag because he's too big to fit into the little slots. He is one of the heralds of Galactus, Stardust. Alright, so first things first, now that I've taken a closer look at her card, Stardust is a her, and she has some pretty beastly abilities. As a herald, she comes at 100 points, and she can heal herself. And also when she gets KO'd, she has the option to heal herself instead. She can also fire off a pulse wave, so she is pretty strong. I know I said I was going to use her just because she looks cool, but she might actually be worth using just for what she can do. And if you take a look here, pretty solid array on the clicks there for 100 points. So overall, I think it's a pretty nice pull in Stardust. And look at that figure. That is so cool. His paint has this like sheen to it. He's holding his like aqua axe. He is a silver, so of the rare tier, he may not be the most sought after thing on the market, but I just think he's a cool figure. Like, look at that. So yeah, I mean, I might just put Stardust on my team because he looks cool. That is pro strats, what we call in the industry. Going through again, we have a couple of repeats. I think I had, this is Franklin, but he's like a power pack version of Franklin. He loses the sidekick status in order to interact with the power pack more. So if you're feeling a power pack team, this Franklin more interacts with them. He comes at 25 points, and I think he gets a bit of a buff point-wise. And in return, he has 5 clicks. So make this Franklin's meant to stand on his own a bit rather than rely on a captain. So interesting that there's a lot of trade between the Power Pack and Future Foundation here. Speaking of, a little partner in crime for him, Jack Power. I've already seen him in the last video. Don't need to go over that again. Also seen in the last video, but still a favorite in this household, Spiderman. And then of course the man himself, which we haven't seen yet, and I'm surprised we haven't seen him, and he's so stubborn and powerful he can't even properly get out of this thing. Here we go. There he is. I mean, what do you say about Doom, but just like, look at all the powers he has at his disposal. Seems the Legion of Doom, or I keep saying Legion of Doom, the allies of Doom, the Doom Council, all of them, I said Mad Thinker, I saw Wizard, they have this thing that gives their sidekicks and captains a +1 to attacking certain keywords. And Doom gives a bonus when attacking the Fantastic Four, which makes sense. So if you want to, make a team of villains, or make the Future Foundation attack their own parents, there's one way to go about it, by having Doom lead them into battle. And he is an ally and a captain, which I think is kind of interesting. You can use him both ways, and to go with that, he does have 2 different point costs to him. So I mean, yeah, when you pick Doom, you're getting a suite of powers and leadership abilities that will help you dominate the world. Yeah, it's always cool to see Dr. Doom, is what the Fantastic Four probably never say. Another personal favorite of mine from this set, also difficult to get out of his box here. I believe my rare of this bit right here, Dragon Man. So it's great because he looks so ferocious, but he's spitting that fire. But if you know Dragon Man, you know that he's really just this caretaker. He's just this like chill dude who watches the kids. Leaves a comment every now and again. He's not like this crazy Dragon Man just spews fire everywhere. And with his powers, it reflects more of the kind of caretaker nature he has for the Future Foundation. He's a captain, so he's empowering the sidekicks to have this kind of carrying ability. And when it comes to clicks, he's got a pretty solid number there. And his point cost, again, he has 2 of them. I mean, Dragon Man was inevitable, but I just always like to see the weirder side of things, especially when Fantastic Four is in the picture. It is nothing but the weirder side of things. Moving on. Let's see what these guys... Oh yeah, so speaking of weirder side of things, a couple fun ones. We have Woo. You know the drill. He's a sidekick. He's got that sidekick tagline. He does have an ability, much like Leech and his buddy there, that if there's a character named Vil in your team, they can give each other a little boost. And he comes at 15 points with these clicks right here. And that's, you know, pretty much all Woo does. You get the idea with sidekicks by now, I think. Here we go, of course. It wouldn't be the Fantastic Four without this guy coming up, Mr. Fantastic. So yeah, aside from his usual powers you would expect him to have, Mr. Fantastic can also give leadership to the sidekicks as a captain. So, you know, going back to Bentley didn't need it, but the other kids could use a lesson in what it means to be a leader, so it's cool that he can pass that power on. Pretty decent of the captain, and I like, again, how just his stretchy arms are in this figure. There's been many sculpts of Mr. Fantastic, but I like the way this one manages to render his powers. So yeah, hello Reed. Surprised it took us this long to find you. Valeria. We had a lot of Franklins. Let's focus on Valeria for a bit. And yeah, I mean, it's cool to see Valeria. She, you know, here is kind of relegated to sidekick status, so she's got that very blank slate of powers, and, you know, a low point cost and not many clicks because she is meant to be working with captains. And then, I don't even know. Please, someone in the comments tell me what this thing is. I'm not even going to pretend I know what this is. It's a Thing robot. I mean, I can guess based on the name, but here is the Thing, but he has a light bulb for a head. Take a closer look. It's kind of fun how they implemented it, so take a look at that guy. So this Thing robot doesn't have a lot going on. He's got this ability where others can kind of like take control of him. But other than that, it's actually not as powerful as I was thinking. He actually only is a 20-point card with 4 clicks. He's not even a sidekick or anything, so I'm not sure what utility you're supposed to get out of it, but you know, it's got a light bulb head, so that's cool. But yeah, I won't be offended at all, so please someone just enlighten me on what the heck this was about. Finally, this is my rare of this little box here. Fun to see. Speaking of Dooms, we have Kristoff. So Kristoff of Latveria comes with a suite of powers. He can do kind of stealth. He's got mind control. He's got this interesting power that he makes people move away from him simply because they fear how mad he is. When it comes to his stats, he also comes with 2 point values. So, you know, there's different things you can do with Kristoff if you're trying to run a Doom-adjacent team. That's the end of this one, and now we're getting to the moment of truth. But before we get there, we have some other characters to get through. Let's just get Vil out of the way. So there's Vil, looking exactly like Woo. And, you know, I just actually realized when I looked at Woo's card that he does have an ability that powers up when Vil is on the field. Vil does not have the same thing. He's got his own little bit going on there. Like, obviously, you know, he's a sidekick. He's got 4 clicks for 10, so you're probably meant to deploy them together because I don't see as much sense deploying them separately. So there's Woo and Vil. This here, again, another incarnation. We had Julie Power in her black and red outfit. Don't need to revisit her for too much time. Coming up, I think we actually finished our... Yeah, we had Ms. Thing, Medusa, She-Thing, She-Hulk, and now we have Ant-Man to fill out the last of the quirky Fantastic Four. I like his little thumbs-up pose. There's Cowabunga Ant-Man here. Finally, finishing off this version of the Fantastic Four, he's got a leadership ability called Leader of the Ant-tastic Four. Probably something he came up with himself. You know, not much else to say. You've seen from the others at this point he's got that same ability. He can re-roll 4s. He comes at 75 points with a good spread of clicks there. So yeah, that's kind of a confirmation that you don't need to necessarily pull a rare to complete this version of the Fantastic Four. Whether you want to, as opposed to doing a team of Doom allies or, you know, a whole Captain Sidekick deal, that's up to you. You'll see more of that as we reveal, the last few figures here and kind of make a decision on what your team's going to look like with this set. Finally, this dude, another one of my WTF characters, Awesome Andy. Good old Awesome Andy. He's a captain, he's a teacher to the kids, and he has these interactions based on shape changing. He can lend some of those powers to the sidekicks. So, good for him. And he's got 2 click values, 75 and 35. So, very awesome for Andy. And then finally, the moment of truth. We have the chase. And before I get there, I have this. There are 6 things in here. I know I said I would take care of the equipment in the last video, but this came with this character, and it seemed wrong to split them up. So I have a super rare tier and a red ring, the time platform. So here is the time platform in all of its flat glory. I'll put it on the thing here, but that's what it is. It's got a really cool power, if you're reading the thing there. So when you hit an enemy, you can push them back to the starting area. Or when your guy gets hit, they can put them back to the starting area. And whatever happens at that resolution, they take 1 unavoidable damage. So it's kind of a neat little way to push back a figure of your opponent that's giving you some trouble or protect one of your own. And then of course that 1 unavoidable damage for 10-point cost, that could be pretty useful if you used right. But then the time platform goes away after that, so it is a single-use thing. But who could make such use of such a diabolical device? There is a reason why it is in this box, and it's because it comes with Dr. Doom. Whereas if you look at the close-up, I have to call him DJ Doom. DJ Doom over here, riding his own time platform. And as you can see from the card, again, the reason he comes with the time platform in the box is because he gets to use that item as one of his abilities for free. And if Doom makes use of the time platform, he does not take that 1 unavoidable damage. So that kind of eliminates the risk factor of deploying the item. So that's really cool that he can do that. And he's got many of the other Doom powers. He has the many faces of Doom, which lets you swap him out with another Doom figure if for some reason you want to adjust. But just overall, he's a chase, so it makes sense that he's so cool. But this is just really cool. The last video I got Krakoa and didn't realize he was a chase figure because he was a tree with a portal in his stomach. But this, I get it. It's Doom on a friggin' time platform. It does look like, based on him, that maybe the equipment comes with its associated character. So hopefully if you get a time platform, you will also get this time platform riding DJ Doom with the green base as your chase. I do believe this is number 62. So again, I do believe this is hopefully something new, and that you guys have gleaned something from his card, and there'll be some interesting discussion as to how to use him and what teams he's on. But yeah, it's a really cool thing to pull, so I'm glad I got that. I hope you guys learned something from that video. I hope it was useful to you. I tried really hard. Thank you again for all the feedback. And now let's go to the contest, so maybe you can find out how to win your own. Alright, so as promised, I have a little shout out to the real ones. I think one of my favorite comments I got when I asked for feedback on these videos was a lot of the ones that called me out for not knowing too much about the X-Men. I will admit, I was more of a Spider-Man guy growing up, and I've fallen out of comics these last few years, and you guys picked up my lack of Hickman X-Men knowledge right away. And my favorite comments was the ones that were like, why does this guy have HeroClix? Why aren't these other smaller channels getting them? Why don't real fans who deserve the figures get the figures? So yeah, touche. And in respect of that, I'm deciding to give some of you real fans a chance to get the figures. So here you see 5 unopened, tape still on the sides, boxes of the Future Foundation set. I'm going to give these away on my Twitter. So just look, there should be a picture I'll put up right here so you can see which account it is. It's basically at Sergio Solorzano. If you go to that account, I will have a picture of these bad boys. I want you to retweet that picture, and I will pick the winner from the retweets. There'll be a date and the method of delivery. I'll go over all these details on Twitter, but basically, find me on Twitter, follow me on Twitter, retweet the picture of these, and you can be the lucky fan who deserves them much more than I do. So here they are, waiting for you, true believers, and the gauntlet is thrown. Good luck.